Now, as you may remember, Israelis returning from abroad will soon be given a choice for quarantine location between the state-run coronavirus hotels and isolation at home with an electronic bracelet monitor. But the bracelet program is still in its pilot phases, and here to tell us all about it is Ordan Trabelsi, CEO and president of SuperCom, which is developing the bracelet system. Ordan, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so first of all, let's break this down. How exactly is this bracelet designed to work?
Great, you can see the bracelet here. Essentially, it's a full kit, a bracelet, a smartphone that we provide, and a beacon, a sticker that you put at home.
Okay.
Essentially, it's a Bluetooth bracelet, and it's just supposed to test whether the person is at home during their quarantine. So for 14 days, are they at home? Yes or no? That's the only thing that it's supposed to do.
So is it basically a GPS link, or is it really just distance from the...
Yeah, so actually, this is not a GPS bracelet, it's a Bluetooth bracelet. We're not tracking the location of the person.
Okay.
The bracelet's on their hand or on their, here you go.
Yeah.
The bracelet's on their hand or on their leg. It's a very lightweight bracelet, ergonomic, waterproof, very comfortable. You never have to charge it when you're using it. And essentially, it just communicates with the smartphone. And so long as there's a connection, then you're in the house because the smartphone is there connected to electricity. If you leave the house, then there's an alert. If you cut the bracelet, there's an alert. Other things you try to do, there's an alert. And that's essentially how the program works.
So, okay, I have to ask, what are the bracelet's limitations then? How do you know if...
It's all powerful.
Yeah, I mean, how do you know if the person is just within their home or property complex, but outside of a certain limitation? Do you adjust the range of the device per person?
First of all, most people are in similar sized homes. If someone is in a huge mansion that's very large in size, they could walk around with a phone as well. And then you know that there's a connection between the phone and the bracelet. The phone has GPS and everything on it, but you're not required to have the phone attached to you. In a normal house, you leave the phone in the center of the house, you have the bracelet, and so long as you're doing your quarantine, according to what you committed to do, because it's a voluntary program.
Right.
You committed to be at home for 14 days. This just assures that it's happening that way. If you leave your house, you leave outside your lawn and you go to the mall and you walk around and you start potentially spreading coronavirus, then there's an alert, and that goes to our systems or our partner systems, which is Electra Security in Israel, and they alert the Ministry of Health. So
I have to ask, how is this different really from, say, an ankle monitor that's used for people under house arrest?
So SuperCom's been around for 33 years soon, but we've been using this technology of tracking for elements for 15 years. It's any type of element. You can put this on medical equipment. You can put the bracelets on people that are in hospitals for tracking patients, and you can use it also for criminal justice, as you suggested. In the criminal justice field, it's a different technology that we essentially use because it's much more enforcing. Over there, you usually have a GPS requirement to track the person everywhere, not just in their home, whether they're going out or if they're going to work, wherever they are.
Maybe a scaled back model almost.
This is a simple model. It doesn't take any of your personal information, doesn't take your biometrics, doesn't take your actual location. It just assesses that if you're home or if you're not home to give the indication. We're not trying to provide any personal data. We're just trying to answer the simple question is whether the person at home during quarantine or not in the 14 days. So it's not the same solution. This is a customized solution. We call it Pure Care, and it's customized for COVID. And we actually only launched it and started offering it to the world in March of last year when COVID.
All right. Well, so I know the pilot is now underway. Something, correct me if I'm wrong, but about 100 of these units were given out to passengers who chose to participate in the pilot.
Right.
How much does it cost?
So the pilot's completely free. We offered it to the government.
And for participants after the pilot?
So that depends on, there is a cost to this equipment, of course. It costs money to manufacture it and to create it. Right now in the pilot, we offered it for free, the first 100 units. It's been applied to people in the airport in the last 2 nights. There were certain flights where people had the choice to choose between the Corona Hotel or the bracelet. As you probably assume, most people chose the bracelet and to go home and have their mothers cooking and see their family and so forth.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, but actually there were a few cases, usually around religious regions, that they weren't still completely
what about for
understanding.
Shabbat? I mean, if this thing runs on the weekend, is there a conflict with that?
So we understand the requirements for the Shabbat electronic products, and we meet those requirements. But since it's brand new, some of the people, more religious, are still not completely sure that they understand how it works and if they have their rabbi's approval. So some some of those people decided to, not take the program. Also, you have to put a 1,500 shekel deposit with a credit card. If someone doesn't have a credit card,
But it's
they
a
can't sign up
deposit.
to the program.
It's
Deposit, yes.
funded at the end of the
just to
program.
make sure you return the equipment.
Sure.
Because at the end of 14 days, someone could throw this into the sea and just go on with it.
Which would be rich.
Yes.
The sea at this point is polluted enough. All right. Well.
Yeah. And on what you were saying, this is just a pilot. Seems like people like it. Seems like they feel comfortable with it. And right now, the Ministry of Health is trying to get this into larger scale.
Sure.
We already have thousands of units available at SuperCom, and we've increased production to create thousands more every week. We're waiting for the proper request and process from the government, and then we could launch a more large-scale project.
All right. Well, I don't know when my next trip abroad is happening, but I'll definitely be in contact with you guys and getting this bracelet when I come back. Ordan, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me.